What is going on, family? How is everybody doing? Please, please, please do whatever you need to do for the show today. Get your libations, get yourself together, get a snack, popcorn, whatever you want to do. How's the family doing today? I hope everybody's doing good. Everybody's doing well. Everybody's healthy. If you are not healthy, I hope you are healing, fam. So let's get started on that note. Let's get started on a good note. So, fam, listen. As usual, we have business to take care of at the beginning of the show. Don't forget, August 1st coming up. It's going to be a Thursday. We'll have the Monday, Wednesday show. We'll have the Thursday show. It's the book club show. How the Irish became white. We're going to discuss it. So get your little book notes together. Find your favorite quote. When you call in, we're going to have the conversation. So just get ready for that. Get yourself, get ready. If you want to call in and talk about it, have what you want to talk about. I'm going to try to get through as many calls as I can when we have that conversation. So just kind of get your mind ready for that. And we're going to have to get our mind ready for this show too. But listen, you can also hit that like button while you're in here. Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Still old naturalist or Kevin? What's going on, everybody? Listen, hit that like button. Cost you nothing. Or you want to, if you want to donate, you go to donatebrown.com or patreon.com/ycarnell. You can do that good stuff. Also, go to subscribetobrown.com. If you haven't given me your email address, I would appreciate it, so that I can have your information, so I can contact you without going through filters and other platforms of that nature. Also, don't forget to hit that bell if you have not hit that bell. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button. If you have not subscribed, you're just following through, hit the subscribe button. If I make you angry, you can unsubscribe and you can run off. Take your toys. People do it all the time. So just hit that subscribe button for me. I would appreciate it. The newsletter is $2 a month. You want to subscribe to that, it'll be in the description too as well. So all of that good stuff, fam. All of that good stuff. Now let's get into it. Trying to truncate the shows a bit. So let's just kind of get into it. So we had to give context. Biden had gotten a lot of trouble. Gotten a lot of criticism about being the architect, not just somebody who voted for it or that shouldn't have voted for it or whatever, but being the architect of the 1994 crime bill. And that means, which basically amounts to being the architect of the incarceration state as we know it today. That's what Biden did. And when he came out, it is good to remember that before this bill came out, it is very good to remember and to keep in mind that Biden was very unapologetic about the bill. He tried to shore up the positive parts of the bill. So this bill that you're seeing now is a reaction to the criticism that Biden got. This anti-mass incarceration bill. And so one of the things I want to say, because I like to be fair, I don't think the media did a good job of talking about the bill. I don't think the New York Times, which I just put up, did a good job talking about the bill. I don't think anybody did a good job trying to explain this bill, because there is a lot in there, right? And initially when I read the reports about the bill before going to the bill, I was like, oh, it's nothing. No, it's something. But before you decide whether you're going to support this bill, we're going to have to ask ourselves some very serious questions about Biden, about the person, because the person is just as important as the bill. Now, before I even go into the bill, I'm going to tell you funding levels are not what they should be in terms of this bill. Funding levels are not what they should be, right? I'm going to tell you that off top. So I don't have to come back to it and talk about it. But I'm going to go through a bit of the bill so you have an idea of what he's talking about. And then I'm going to ask two very pivotal questions about whether or not you would support Biden in this bill. Now, these are the two questions, regardless of the bill, because the person in the bill is important. Because they were all over at the NAACP talking kind of crazy today. I'm not going to get into it right now because I want to kind of focus on the bill. Biden's anti-mass incarceration bill. So for those of you who haven't seen, we're going to go through some of the most consequential parts of the bill. Please stay with me. Do not be dismayed or bothered. This is what we have to do. Sometimes you have to do some heavy stuff. We're going to go through it. There are other parts of the bill too which deserve attention that I'm probably not going to get to everything, but I'm going to get to what I get to. You understand? So let's go to the first. Eliminate the death penalty. That's a big deal. Over 160 individuals who've been sentenced to death in this country since 1973 have been exonerated. Because we cannot ensure we get death penalty cases right every time. Biden will work to pass legislation to eliminate the death penalty at the federal level and incentivize states to follow the government's example. These individuals should serve life sentences without probation or parole. All right. Now let's keep it going. If you all do not mind, let's keep it going because I don't want us to spend too much time here. That one was the death penalty. So put a little marker, make a little piece of paper, do whatever you have to do. And he will make clear that the federal government should not use private facilities for any detention, including detention of undocumented immigrants. Well, I don't know what they got to do. But Biden will also make eliminating private prisons and other methods of profiteering off of incarceration, including diversion programs, commercial bail, and electronic monitoring, a requirement for his new state and local prevention grant program. Finally, see, let me tell you something. Do you all remember the show that I did a while back about how the people were paying? They are transitioning now. You have to understand when the transition, you got to feel the transition when the transition is taking place. They are transitioning right now. They are transitioning out of private prisons. So it really doesn't necessarily make all that sense for myself. We're going to end private prisons. We're really transitioning into incarcerating people at home with anklets. But do you all remember there was a story I did a few shows back about how these anklets were private corporations. And they were charging like $400-$500 a month to people who were making very little money to do this. And then the things don't even half work right. You got to plug them in all the time. If you don't plug them in, it's not charged up, then you're in violation of your probation or whatever. So it was just a mess. And so this piece kind of speaks to what I said before about the profiteering that is involved. Now mind you, learning is fundamental. Understanding is fundamental because look, get to the bottom of this. A requirement for his new state and local prevention grant program. So this is basically an incentive as opposed to outlawing it, carte blanche. This is incentivizing. There's a lot of incentivizing going on. I don't necessarily always have a problem with incentivizing, but sometimes it feels like a dodge. Sometimes it feels like that. Why do you think Jay-Z is investing in anklets? You think he's trying to help the community? No, because he knows that this is the wave of incarceration. They're going to make you incarcerate people at your house and make you, if your brother or your uncle or whoever, they got some kind of anklet they got to wear, they got to be at your house. And then they ain't got no money. We're not hiring felons and ex-felons. So then you got to chip in on the $400-$500. So getting profit out of that is a good thing. But this is incentivizing. Don't necessarily have a problem with incentivizing all the time, but I don't see why it's just not allowed. Carte blanche. We don't want to do that though. But okay, put a pin in it. We're going to keep it moving. Now that was that. Now we talk a lot about the school to prison pipeline, ladies and gentlemen. In the school to prison pipeline, by focusing on prevention, Biden will focus on investing in prevention in our schools. He'll start by doubling the number of mental health professionals in our schools so behavioral and emotional challenges can be addressed by appropriately skilled psychologists, counselors, and social workers, not our criminal justice system. So understand what he's saying right there. He's saying we're going to take the police out the school, and he will restore the Obama-Biden administration guidance to help schools address the high number of suspensions, blah, 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 blah. So right there, he's saying we're going to take the police been in your school. We're going to take the people who get in the schools and take your kids to jail for stuff. Where's Kamala? Oh, anyway, the people who we don't want your kids to be in jail for stuff like truancy, and we don't want the cops necessarily be in the school and be a pipeline through which your kids can go to school, through which your kids go to jail, and they get used to being in prison. They get a rap sheet. We've seen as little as elementary school kids get a rap sheet, right? Or have to at least go to jail. So what I'm telling you is that's what he's doing. Now understand that what Biden is doing is undoing everything he did. He's undoing everything that he did. I want you to, as we have this conversation, I need you to understand as we go. Because it's easy to see this man in the microcosm of 2019 as opposed to 1994 and before. It's easy to see that man in that way. I want you to understand as we go through this. I want you to understand that Biden was trying to out Republicans. He was trying to out anti-black Republicans. This was him. And I want to bring a quote up just to show you where Biden was in terms of what he created. George H.W. Bush, came up with the plan or a crime prevention plan, and he announced it. And this is what Joe Biden said about the Republicans' plan. He says, quite frankly, the president's plan is not tough enough, bold enough, or imaginative enough to meet the crisis at hand. Biden said in a televised response to Bush's speech. In a nutshell, the president's plan does not include enough police officers to catch the violent thugs, enough prosecutors to convict them, enough judges to sentence them, or enough prison cells to put them away for a long time. This is Biden. Read that last line one more time, pray tell, can you? In a nutshell, the president's plan, Biden talking about George H.W. Bush. This is a Democrat talking about a Republican. And saying that the Republican isn't locking up enough people. In a nutshell, the president's plan does not include enough police officers to catch the violent thugs, enough prosecutors to convict them, enough judges to sentence them, or enough prison cells to put them away for a long time. That's what he said. I didn't say it. So you have to understand that by going 180 in this and undoing what he did, what he is admitting to you and what he's admitting to me is that his career is a failure. His life in politics is this is what he's known for. This is his carte blanche. This is carte blanche. This is his claim to fame. This is his claim to fame. And what he's telling you is that he's a failure. I got everything wrong. Not only did I get everything wrong, but what I got wrong ruined your family's lives. And you can't undo that. Understand something, fam. We cannot undo. You know, I've always said that like the first step of any politician who wants to do that would be a bill undoing what they did. He tried to kind of do that, but what you see is that there's no way to undo what he did. There is no way to undo what Biden did. You ruined families. You ruined people. You ruined communities. And you didn't have to. It's not like there were no opposing views where everybody was on the same page. That was a different time, different place. Hush, Yvette. No. Wasn't a different time, wasn't a different place. There were a lot of people and we're going to get to some of them, and we're going to get to some of the problems with that, but people had differing views. Biden was just the same reason he cozied up to those segregationists and said they never called him boy. It's the same reason. Because he wanted to be he wanted to be a successful politician. He wanted to run for president. How many times Biden run for president? About three times. Understand that. Failure. But let me just keep going through the bill for people who have not seen the bill in terms of what Biden is proposing in terms of his campaign to upend and end mass incarceration. Eliminate mandatory minimums. Biden supports an end to mandatory minimums. Ain't that something to write it in and then come in the campaign to do it, to be the architect of it, then come in the campaign and say you're not ashamed of it, and now you upending all of it. Tell me why I don't trust you. As president, he will work for the passage of legislation to repeal mandatory minimums at the federal level. And he will give states incentives, there's that word again, to repeal their mandatory minimums. And once and for all, the federal crack and powder disparity. The Obama administration successfully narrowed the unjustified disparity between crack and powder cocaine sentences. The Biden administration will eliminate this disparity completely, as then Senator Biden proposed in 2007. He's going to eliminate the crack powder disparity. You were the co-author of the bill that caused all of this stuff we're talking about. But now you want to come to us and say, I'm going to end it. I know I did it. I did it and I can undo it. That's what you come here to say. That's interesting. It's interesting if I believe you and I don't. But let me just go on. I want to get through these because I want everybody to know. Eliminating racial disparities and ensuring fair sentences. Expand use of the power of the Justice Department to address systemic misconduct, police departments and prosecutors' offices. Decriminalize the use of cannabis and automatically expunge all prior cannabis convictions. Biden believes one should be in jail because of no one should be in jail because of cannabis use. As president, he will decriminalize cannabis use and automatically expunge the convictions, and he will support the legalization of cannabis for medical purposes and leave decisions regarding legalization for recreational use up to the states, and reschedule cannabis as a Schedule II drug. End all incarceration for drug use alone, and instead divert individuals to drug courts and treatment. Diversion. You know, I would have liked to seen a lot of diversion in 1994, but you said thugs would roam in the street. Roam in the street. See, please understand that the only reason that he is saying all of this is because of us. We changed the whole conversation. He came in saying, I don't have anything to apologize for. I stand by the crime bill. I stand by it. I did what I did. I stand by it. Now all of a sudden you at a different page. You having a different conversation with yourself and with us. But that's because what people are trying to do is come walk up to the line too. Oh, I don't necessarily want to get reparations, but I got to do this, because everybody, they talking about how bad it is what I did. Didn't seem that bad at the time. Don't seem that bad to me now. But the natives are restless. So I'm going to have some business. I'm going to have some stuff to do. Understand that all of this stuff is whether you look at the Erivo controversy, the Cynthia Erivo, or this is all us. Our fingerprints are all over it. Incentivize states to stop incarcerating kids. We can cut the population of incarcerated youth by supporting community-based alternatives to incarceration like mentorship and counseling. I don't know about all of that. Let's get through this. Use the president's clemency power to secure the release of individuals facing unduly long sentences. So and understand that I thought Obama was quite stingy with his clemency power, but whatever you say. Let's keep going. Establish an independent task force on prosecutorial discretion. Law enforcement officials' decisions regarding when to arrest, when to charge, and what charges to bring are critical decision points in our criminal justice system. The charges, for example, can dramatically impact not only what sentences someone ends up with, but also whether they are compelled to take a plea bargain. So he's gonna do that. He's gonna do a lot of stuff that he wasn't doing. Expand funding, after school programs. He's gonna do something for the children. He's gonna expand that. Let's go to the next one. Expand access to mental health and substance use disorder treatment, as well as educational opportunities. Blah 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 blah. He gonna do that. We're gonna get to the next one. Biden will eliminate barriers, keep informally. And now this is big. Understand. Biden will eliminate barriers keeping formerly incarcerated individuals from accessing public assistance such as SNAP, Pell Grants, and housing support. He said he gonna have everybody. If you incarcerated, wrongly incarcerated, he said he gonna have you. He gonna guarantee you gonna have somewhere to live. Now he not playing these games. That's what he said. I'm telling you what he said. He said he gonna give you Job Corps. You see down there, if you scroll down, we got Job Corps, restore voting rights. He got all of that. He got all of that down there. He's a changed man. He's a changed man, which means his career has been awful. Now, see, the thing I feel about Biden, before I go on, let me just say, the thing I feel about Biden is this. And let me be very clear. Either you were lying then or you lying now. And I don't know how much it matters to me. Now, I'm going to give you all some questions that I think have to be answered absolutely, unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt. He said, I think there's something that we, he's summer jobs, job training, SNAP. He went at Kamala in the use of detention as punishment for status offenses. Thousands of minors interact with our justice system every year merely because they commit an unlawful act that would be legal if they were older. Children end up incarcerated due to acts such as truancy, alcohol use, and curfew violations. Biden will add to juvenile justice grant programs. See, I don't like all these grant programs. Well, anyway, programs a requirement that states eliminate detention as a punishment for status offenses and instead make sure these young people engage in community service, workforce programs, or mentorship and therapy as needed. Nobody. So there's other stuff, but that's the crux of it, fam. That's the crux of it. We've gone through the bulk of it. So what I want to say is this. In terms of the questions that let me see what I think we mentioned the consent decrees. I just want to make sure we hit most of it. Juvenile justice. Oh, he said the jails are going to be humane. And, it's not going to be like you've seen the videos of the feces come out of toilets, the people, the inmates drinking water that's brown. He says he's going to take care of all of that. Just make sure we have everything. We have everything. Everything is everything, and everyone is everyone. So job training, federal benefits. So I have, in terms of, it looks a little bit all right. So the question becomes, Yvette, well, do you support it or do you or don't you? The numbers aren't right, and I don't agree with all the incentivizing, but it's not a bad bill in terms of the framing. It's a long way to go. Not a bad bill at all. Here is the question, though. There are two questions. As I was thinking about this, there are two questions that we have to ask ourselves in terms of Joe Biden. In terms of whether or not to do this, or whether or not to believe this, or whether or not to buy into this, or whether or not, anybody gonna be Team Biden? The first question, see, because this is going to be a long haul no matter what, right? Even if you were to get a Democratic, people say, well, no, it's just the Republicans. No. You get Mitch McConnell out of there, you get a Democrat in there, you still got problems in terms of trying to get something like this through. When that happens, there's one key question. There's one key question I always think about in terms of politicians. Yeah, I want to hear your policies. I absolutely do. But after that, and I decide that I like a policy, my question then becomes, do I trust you? That's the first question. There are two questions I'm going to go through. But do I trust you? That's my first question. Because if I don't trust you, because see, Biden, you have a way of capitulating. You've been around segregationists from Strom Thurmond to Eastland and all these. You have a way of just doing whatever is required at the moment. So my first question is, do I trust you? And in terms of Biden, in terms of this long haul, I don't think I do. And you have a history where I shouldn't trust you. Because the thing is, once you elect him, it's about trust. Because you got 4 years no matter what. Once you elect somebody, they got 4 years no matter what. And what they do, or what a politician like Biden especially will do, is use those 4 years like Obama did to get reelected, as opposed to doing something transformational. No, you're thinking about re-election. And then it's over before you know it, you're a lame duck. And we did something because we bought into something that wasn't true because we bought into you. And that's stupid. So, see, we have been in this, let me bring this up. We've been in this position before where we have been asked to trust. And why don't you trust? And you should trust me. I'm going to do the right thing. Well, I think that kind of happened with Bill Clinton. When this whole crime bill got passed, the Black Caucus yields on the crime bill. And some things haven't changed. Some things we haven't learned from, and we have to learn from them in terms of who we trust and how we trust. And this is, listen to this quote from way back then. I think there is frustration that given our level of loyalty, we are asked to, this is 1994, I think. Yeah, this is 1994, the crime bill year. I think there is frustration that given our level of loyalty, we are asked to bend more than most, said Representative Albert Wynn of Prince George's County Democrat and Black Caucus member who supported the president in last week's vote. Yeah, you still asked to bend. But listen to this. Listen to Bobby Scott, because Bobby Scott did I think, when was that? I have to find that video. Those arguments mean little to black lawmakers like Representative Bobby Scott, a Virginia Democrat, who said he remained deeply opposed in principle to the death penalty provisions. My position isn't a political position, he said. I feel if you have a chance to stand up against racial injustice and don't do it, who will? Who indeed? If you have a chance to stand up to it, who, and you don't do it, who will? Because it was Biden who said, lock the SOBs up. When we talk about trust, when we talk about who I'm supposed to trust in this political arena, it was Biden who said, lock the SOBs up. It was him who said, what did you say, Biden? Let's bring this up a little bit bigger, this tweet. Biden in 1994. Every time Richard Nixon, when he was running in 1972, would say law and order, the Democratic match or response was law and order with justice, whatever that meant. And I would say, lock the SOBs up. Listen, let me tell you something. You was a grown man back then. If you didn't know what justice meant in 1994, I bet you don't know what it means now. You was grown as everything. If you didn't know what justice meant when they said justice, whatever that meant, if you didn't know what it meant back then, you do not know what it means now. And I do not trust you. Some good people got together and did the bill. That was nice of them. But I don't trust you to do the right thing by ADOS when you are the people who put us here in the first place. You did this, Mr. Architect. Justice. Understand that. I'm caught on this because I want you to pay attention to the end of that. Law and order with justice. Of course it's law and order with justice. What are y'all talking about? And he's going to say whatever that means. Lock the SOBs up. Oh, you was real thugged out, wasn't you, Biden? You was real thugged out. And now you want to come back and try to do a mea culpa and expect me to believe in you. I don't. He's doing this because he has to. And we've been here before. We've trusted Bill Clinton. I'm sure Bill Clinton and Biden was on the telephone laughing at Negroes. So we go tell them. Because they said you went there. They said you went there and you didn't get nothing. That's what they said. They said the Negroes went to the president's went to the White House to talk to Clinton, and they came back with a big goose egg. A big old goose egg we came back with. We came to talk to him. We're gonna get this straight. We're gonna get this together in 1994. And they said you came back with nothing. And we're back here again. I thought I had that quote where they said y'all came back here with nothing. Nothing. You ought to be ashamed to go to the White House. But you remember that Al Sharpton went to the White House. Him and Mark Moriarty and all of them. And Obama sent them outside in the snow to tell us they came back with nothing. How long you gonna keep coming back with nothing? How long you just gonna come back like this? Come back to your neighborhood like this? Well, I don't know. He said he gonna, do stuff. He sent y'all outside in the snow. He didn't let y'all do a press conference in the White House. Y'all was outside in the snow. How many people remember that? How long we just gonna do politics and not get nothing? How does that work? Because that's not how politics works. Understand, this man is a liar. I'm just gonna say it. He didn't have any kind of like, I realized he didn't write a book 8, 9, 6, 7, 8 years gonna say, you know what, this was awful what I did. Obama dreams from my father that explained his whole evolution or whatever. He didn't do none of that because he came in thinking I did the right thing. And people said, no, you got to change. It's a different environment. It's a different political atmosphere. And what are the people doing who work there? What y'all doing? Y'all tell him it's a different political atmosphere. No, you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be there. Like, understand what it means to be a black person or ADOS person working here in Biden's campaign, knowing what he did, knowing the lives that he ruined. What are you doing? Say, what do you mean the lives? I don't know. Let's just go to it then. Let's just talk about it. Well, it's still better, Yvette, now than it was way back when. Well, let's just look at imprisonment of black men, high school dropouts under 35 in 1979 versus 2009. Does that look like progress to you? Imprisonment of black men, high school dropouts under 35. In 1979, it was 15%. In 2009, it was 68%. See what they're doing? Understand what's happening. You got to understand what's happening. They're deciding that, hey, we're just going to warehouse these black men in prison. Forget about it. Throw them away. Throw them away. We don't care. Oh, black people, whatever. I'm looking for a husband. No, they in jail. They don't. No. And a lot of these crimes are poverty crimes. You sell something because you don't get a job or whatever. 50% of the black men in Chicago ain't got no working in the school. Those are poverty crimes. You're not no drug kingpin. That's a job. Just like this one. Let's bring this one up. American incarceration rate per 100,000 by gender and race. Now I want you to see that little bitty blue blurb at the bottom left. That's white women. That little gold, black women. That little beige, white men. That little gray, that's black men. And that big old purple, that's young black men. So you might look at this chart and say, Yvette, but this chart was in 2009 and incarceration has gone down. Yes, incarceration has gone down because now they're wearing anklets. They're transitioning from the private prison to, I'm going to throw you at grandmama house or your girlfriend house or your mama house or wherever, and I'm going to put this anklet on you. It's not enough money in this private prison stuff anymore like it is. So we're gonna make all this money off these little anklets and stuff. That's what they're throwing people at. So yes, it's gone down. But I don't want to think, look at this difference. From 1979 to 2009. I want you to understand one thing. If you don't understand anything else I say tonight, please understand this. You do not have a difference that goes from 15% to 68% without it being orchestrated and approved by government. That is not an individual agency choice. That is what government has done to you and allowed to be due to you. That's what it is. That's what it is. This is not a case of, well, I did X, Y, Z or whatever. And what I'm going to ask you too is, do you forgive Biden? Do you? Because what I want to break down for you and what I want to talk about. See, Biden was putting our kids in jail. Let's talk about it. Putting little black boys into a less than little black girls, but astronomically black men and black boys, especially young ones, in prison. That's what was happening. But at the same time, something else was happening. Biden's kids. Let's talk about his kids, because Biden's son, Bo passed away of brain cancer, I think, and the other one is Hunter. Now, Hunter Biden, as well as his sister, have been caught in all kinds of travails. The sister, I think, when she was young, 1921, she got twice arrested for marijuana or something like that. Now, she got arrested, but she didn't do any kind of mass incarceration. She didn't stay in jail for a long time. There was discretion. See, that's what happens when you are when you are the top cast and you got Biden as your daddy. You don't get to go away. See, those rules were for us, especially black men. They were not for them. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, Hunter Biden. Let's talk about you, sir. Will Hunter Biden jeopardize his father's campaign? Oh, woe is me. Hunter, who spoke frankly, this is from the New Yorker, to me about his struggles with addiction, started drinking socially as a teenager. Oh, you're a great parent, old Joe. When he was a student at Georgetown in the early 90s, he took up smoking Marlboro Red cigarettes and occasionally used cocaine. Well, wait a minute. Occasionally used cocaine. How come he wasn't mass incarcerated? How come he ain't in the jail right now with all the black men who are in jail for crack? You want to talk disparities and stuff now? How come he ain't in jail? You know what you could do to me to prove to me that you on the right path? Lock your son up. I didn't have, he says once hoping to buy cocaine, he was sold a piece of crack. But he wasn't sure how to take the drug. I didn't have a stem, Hunter said. I didn't have a pipe. He eventually used a cigarette to try to smoke crack. He ain't in jail. And you know what else? Not only is he not in jail, the last I heard he was doing big deals, big money deals with Heinz's and stuff. See, listen, people have cards to play in this life. All that stuff Hunter Biden did, none of his cards got taken away. He had all the cards of being white, having a daddy who was a senator in politics, granddaddy did XY. He had all these cards, and no matter what he did, none of his cards got taken away. We get born with no cards and then get like fingers chopped off. How? I don't forgive you or your son. He should be in jail. The man's been an addict for a long time, admittedly. He's been in rehab and all kind of stuff. But somehow, he got kicked out of military. He did a random cocaine test. Didn't Biden graduate in the bottom of his class? Y'all don't deserve to be where you are. No. And let me say something else. Biden, you've had enough terms. You've had enough turns. This is your third time running for president. You're a failure. Let it go. Just let it go. Give your plan to somebody else. We got like 20 candidates or whatever it is. Give that plan to somebody else as a framework and walk away. And please don't feel sorry for these people. They had all the opportunity in the world and they're just mediocre. These are mediocre people. You in the military and you just snorting away. And this man, bottom of his class, what are y'all doing? How do you get to be my nominee? No, you are rejected. I don't want you. I don't trust you. The first question, and no, it's not forgivable. You and your son running around. This is my. Then the son started. I ain't even going to. Child, you can look that up. Read the New Yorker article. It got a lot of stuff about all the stuff that goes on with that family. But anyway, when you talk about having cars, this was another part of the article. Hunter was concerned about his future as a lobbyist because, of course, you get to be a lobbyist when your daddy is a senator. That's what you get to do. You don't have to have any kind of skills. You got the cards. And his financial worries increased in 2006 when he bought a $1.6 million house in an affluent neighborhood without read this with me, fam. Without the savings for a down payment, he took out a mortgage for 110% of the purchase price. Oh my God, what is it like when people work with your mediocre self? Joe Biden, the daddy, was at the bottom of his class, and his son, he couldn't even with all the privilege and all the daddy and all the stuff in the world, you couldn't come up with the down payment. They gave you 110%, and you get $1 million house, and you are nothing. You are a mediocre person. You are a mediocre man. And everybody wants to talk about this like it don't matter. All of this too is because your father is Joe Biden, United States Senator. That's what it is. And he's been running, he's going to run again. All of this is an exchange because they know if they do stuff for you, they're going to get stuff from your father. It's all an exchange. Politics, life is an exchange, and we're sitting here with nothing to exchange with this man who handicapped us and tripped us and destroyed our lives. In the terms of people want to talk about the black nuclear family, is Joe Biden. You don't get to say anything to me ever. You get to take your plan and walk off. Give it to somebody else. I think you should give it to somebody who's good with plans. Give it to another candidate. You should have been walked off. When you got in trouble for plagiarizing way back when, you should have walked off. But see, these people don't know how to walk off when they're obvious failures. They just know how to eat all the food in the room. So we don't have nothing. This is a problem. Biden is a problem. Biden's son is a problem. Biden's daughter is a problem. Whatever she did, somebody said they had a video of her, whatever. The New York Post, the New York Post is a rag and it's right wing, but that's what they do. They saw the video and said, well, we're not gonna buy the video for $2 million. We're just gonna report about it. So both your kids are alleged. Well, one of them admitted to having addiction problems. The other one is alleged to have a problem, and you want to come, but you locked us up. But you got a girl and a boy who got so many problems. The girl allegedly, but Hunter, we know he struggles. But they ain't in jail. They're not behind bars. They're not drinking dirty water. The rules are just for us. So for us, it's lock the SOBs up. But for your kids, it's like give them a second chance. But you want me to trust you with my future? You want ADOS parents to trust you with the futures of their kids? And their nieces and their nephews and their cousins? No, you disqualified still. There's nothing. Let me just put it out there. There's nothing you can do, Joe Biden. Nothing at this point to make me vote for you. Not ever. Not in this life. Not in this life and the next one. I am not voting for you. Because what you did, see, because it's not just, let me show you something. It's not just about the incarceration. It's what the incarceration leads to, too. This was Antonio's chart, and nobody was really doing these charts before him. So it's not just about that. It's not just about the chart. This chart leads to this. It leads to this chart. This one chart, the chart about incarceration is bad enough, but you got to talk about what it leads to. Racial impact of a criminal record on interview callbacks. This was in 2003, a phenomenal, it's worse now, I'm sure, but a phenomenal researcher did this, but we'll talk about that another day. Anyway, when you look at black, that's blue. I wish they made black brown. It's amazing. But criminal record 5% callback. But look at the blue in both charts right now. That's black. No criminal record 14%. Now look at the white. See, we can't even really get callbacks when we don't have a criminal record. And you put us in a situation where we do have a criminal record, that's a 5% callback. We can't get a job, can't live, can't eat, and that's because you called us, lock them up, lock the SOBs up. They're thugs. That's you, Joe Biden. You don't get a second chance. You get to retire in peace. And let me tell you something. You get to retire in peace, and I'm going to tell you the truth. That's more than you deserve. That's more than you deserve. You have a pension coming from the senator. That's more than you deserve. You have gotten in this life more than you deserve anyway. Do you not ask me again to be president? You have ran too many times. 3 times. Your life has been too good, and our lives have been too bad. You have eaten all the cake. You and your little failure children. The other one, the one that you had that had promised, died. The other ones are just little failure children. That's what you done. You don't get to come here. Like, how does somebody who has kids who are ads come here and get to tell us something? You don't get to tell me anything. You don't get to police my people and say lock the SOBs up when your kids are struggling out here. Ain't it something? Ain't it something? Ain't it something out of the universe teach you sometimes? But you don't get to tell me nothing. Mr. Biden, I'm so sorry. I hate it for you. But this is what you created. You created this. And this is what it's good to, one of the things it's good to remember is that regardless of what what you or I, anybody else, feels about Reverend Jesse Jackson. It's good to remember that he was one of the people who opposed it. The crime bill of 1994 is what I'm talking about. So it wasn't as if Biden just didn't know, or all the CBC were in favor, or he was just clueless. There were people who were opposed to it at the time who were telling you, this is not going to end well for my people. It's a problem for my people. But you didn't care. You had cozied up to racists. Strom Thurmond was your boy, and Easton, all these segregationists. Because you weren't concerned about us. We were a tool that you could kick around and get votes. And now you want to try to be nice to us to get votes. And we're finished. We don't play that game of that. We just forgive you for destroying us anymore. The cost of destroying us, we can't do anymore. But the cost of destroying ADOS life is that you will never be president. You will never sit at that desk. That should be the cost. We will never vote for you. You will never be in the Oval Office. You will never walk into that White House and hear somebody say, Mr. President. No, you are, no, not you. Not you. Not you. You will never get it. That's the price you pay. And I hope you cry yourself to sleep every night, because that was your dream, wasn't it, to one day be president? I hope you never see the inside of the White House as president. You were there as VP, but I hope as the head person in charge, as president of these United States, you never see it. That's my prayer, because you do not deserve it. Everything that you've done to us. You shouldn't even want to be president. You should be prayerful in your life right now about what you have caused and what you have wrought. And you should hope that you should hope right now that God has mercy on you for what you have done, instead of trying to lead. You are not fit for leadership. You are not fit. And it's a problem that we have all these mediocre people who are not fit, who think they're fit, or who just want to do what they want to do. I've just decided what I'm going to do. Like, and he ain't talked about reparations. When has Biden talked about, well, what I'm gonna do with reparations? No, what he's basically says, well, I'm gonna pay you by fixing a mistake that I made, or fixing some awful stuff that I did. That's not how you pay me. You don't pay me by fixing what you did. Like, you need to go away. You don't need to be here. You can't pay me reparations by fixing a problem that you caused. Why are we so not quick to excommunicate people? Why? Because Simone Sanders on the campaign? I don't care. Who cares? I don't care about you. You gotta be ashamed of yourself too. Just go anywhere and say anything. Well, I was against it. When Bernie, Medicare for all, I'm Bernie. When you were Biden, that's not the right solution. It's not the right thing. You don't believe in anything. And see, there's a difference. Sometimes you have to look at who I do criticize and who I don't. What's as important as who I criticize is who I omit from my criticism. I don't criticize everybody. Think about it. Every black person working for a campaign. Think about it. But I'm criticizing you because you're a hired hand. You're a tool. This man has done awful things. The most awful thing. The architect of the most awful thing for us in terms of being a community. How much wealth, how much earning power, not wealth, but income. How much cohesion in terms of families and stuff. How do you think that was lost when Biden did what he did? Locking the thugs up, the SOBs. He made it bipartisan. Democrats were talking about law and order and justice. He said, what's justice? Heh. Justice is the fact that Hunter need to be in jail. That's what it is. If Rakeem is in jail and Tommy and Leroy and Mike, then Hunter need to be right there beside them, getting his hair braided. How about that? It's ridiculous. It's finished. Like, I'm finished. I don't even, and it leads, I talked about how it leads to this, but understand that it also leads to this. When you talk about, this was 2016, when you talk about poverty, when you lock up all those men, how you gonna even have income? Forget wealth. We don't have that at all. But how you even gonna have any kind of income? You locked all the men up. This is where we are. This is where we are. Now, Hunter got approved for $1 million loan with no down payment to justify after he done did all that cocaine. But we can't get nothing. You can't even get a call back for a job. Hunter got $1 million deal. We can't even get a call back for a job. Well, he got $1 million deal, and you do an interview with the New Yorker where you expect me to feel sorry for you. You know, I've had my struggles. I don't care. I don't care about your struggles. I don't care about what you went through. You didn't go with a little privileged household. You just wanted to smoke. You wanted to do some cocaine. And if laws apply to everybody equally, I need you to be locked up. Lock him up. That's the only way I want to do it. So anyway, fam, we're coming. Get me upset with this little fool who should be in jail. Just done did all kind of weird stuff. He's a weird little man too. Like, it's all kind of little weird stuff going on. These little failure people. And it's like people be like, well, you got to try hard. You think Hunter tried anything? What he tried? He tried cocaine and crack. That's what he tried. Cocaine and crack. Who tries cocaine? That's not even a stressful life. You tried cocaine and crack. What's wrong with you? Anyway, fam, let me get the phone started and come in, and then we'll have the conversation. I want to hear what you have to say about it, the bill that Biden introduced and everything else. But give me a minute, set it up, and then we'll be back. fam. What's going on? What is going on? We are back. We are back. I'm gonna try to get to the calls real quick. Let's try to make our comments concise so we can let some other people in the family get in. We don't want to just bombard the conversation. We want to let other family call in. They call in every week and we can't get to them. So anyway, I am going to 732. 732. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, my name is Kerry. I'm from Austin. 732 is really from New Jersey. But
Okay.
anyway, I have to laugh. You were a little bit funny tonight. I had to laugh. But anyway, what Killer Mike said the other night was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of poignant, meaning that, okay, you know, getting reparations is not going to, you know, we're not going to get it within this election cycle. So what are your suggestions? Because I believe 45 is going to win again. But what do you think we should do if he wins? And I'm pretty sure he may win with the current crop of the Democratic candidates. What should we do once this 2020 is over?
I mean, you know what? Let me just say, fam, I'm not a person who necessarily gets that ahead of myself, right? I kind of always believe anything is possible if you make it possible, right? In terms of like especially when you're a part of a group. I'm not talking about individual effort right now. I'm talking about group effort, and I think a lot of things are possible when you show the Democrats that, listen, you're going to lose the White House if you don't come through with something. And it's really not as complicated as you think it is. It's complicated. It's very complex as a bill to put together. But in terms of like making it happen, if AOC can put together a Green New Deal and we can talk about billions and billions of dollars, we're talking about, it doesn't have to be all at one time. It's not a complicated thing. So I tend to think the Democrats are going to have a come to Jesus meeting with themselves. The Democrats are going to ask themselves, listen, these black people is out of pocket. These 80 other people, they out of pocket. Am I willing to forego the White House, or am I willing to actually sit with them and give them what they want? Now, we can negotiate the terms. I'll sit there with you. We can negotiate. But I think they're going to have that conversation. I think after they have that conversation, decide what they're going to do, then I can say what we need to do. But I'm not where you are yet. I'm not where you are yet saying this is going to happen, this is going to. I'm not there yet. Y'all going to lose to Trump again if you don't do it. You got to figure it out. It's not for me to figure it out. If you come to me, I'll help you figure it out. But it's not for me to do your job. In terms of Democrats, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. One more quick question. It's like, you know, I see on the news programs, I mean, they're pushing hard about black women, which, you know, yes, they do vote in, you know, in big numbers, but it's like, what do you think about this sister girl act that they're doing with black women? Are they, you know, I know black women are not that naive to believe that Kamala Harris is like, she really is counting on, you know, black women other than her, you know, her sorority clan to vote for her. But what do you think about this sister girl act that she's doing?
Well, Kamala, you mean in general? You mean the push to get to the push for black women in general?
Yes, exactly.
I really think they're trying to. I really think it's, you know, people always talk about divide and conquer strategy. I really think there's a plan afoot. There's a divide and conquer strategy afoot to like get black women to throw away black men. to get black women to say like, this is your problem over here. Like, if you just let this go, we can be okay. And because you can warehouse prisoners that way, you can get rid of a population that they're not trying to find jobs for. If you just kind of point to them and be like, yeah, black men are the problem. And I think there's like a push afoot, you know, to try to break the black community apart along the lines of gender. And so I really think that we should push back on that, and we should act as a community as opposed to like, well, I'm a black man, I'm a black woman. Don't nobody care. Like, people care, like, what matters most in your life, and what I always say is what's most consequential in your life is that you are ADOS. That is what's most consequential. So I'm gonna let you go, Carl, to get through some more. But I think that I think the most consequential thing in your life is that you're ADOS. And I think, I think anybody who tries to, like, well, no, or when you talk about what is men, or we black men hotel, or we black women, what you've seen a lot though recently is the black women thing. Just trying to kind of cleave us off and say, well, see, this is our moment. No, we're a race. Like, they made us a race. We didn't try to make ourselves a race. They made us a race, and this is a race moment to try to try to get reparations, the black agenda, everything that comes with it. It's not a moment for nothing else. So, I'm going now to 256. 256. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette.
Hey.
This is Lamonte from Alabama.
What's going on, Alabama?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay. I'm doing fine. Just watching. I have a question, but I also have a point I want to make.
Okay.
I'll ask the question first.
Okay.
I'm working on setting a meeting with my representative to discuss HR 40. I sent you an email asking if you had any tips to frame the conversation with a Republican. How should I go about doing that?
With a Republican?
Yeah.
Well, I think if you're doing it with a Republican, you should make it about American DOS. Like, it is ADOS, American first. And you should try to present this, if you're doing it with a Republican, to basically say that, this is something where people who have been called African American are anchoring themselves in Americanness. And what we're trying to do, and like the way to make that happen, and you can point to Jewish reparations or whatever, like the way to make that happen is through restorative justice. And blocking that is blocking a pathway through making us American. Because you hear a lot of Republicans be like, why y'all call yourself African American? You're right. Why do we? But the point of the matter is, you have not been instrumental in making us American. So if you are instrumental in providing us the American life and the American way of life, then you have a real, authentically American group with an American way of life. We are trying to, like, Republicans love to talk about patriotism, whatever. We are trying to anchor ourselves in Americanness, and you all are standing in the way. And so you're standing in the way of the people who have been the truest patriots in this country. From day one, we fought in every war. We have built this country. You are standing in the way of us being able to reap the benefits that would allow us to be the patriots that you think we should be. Let's talk about it. So I think I would start from there. I think I would start from, like, what the name is and what it means and what we're trying to do with that name in terms of how we're trying to anchor ourselves and how you need to be a part of it.
All right. Thank you. That makes a lot of sense, and I'll try to drive that point home in the meeting.
Okay.
And now I want to talk about the crime bill. The crime bill, to me, has always been really a tax bill on Black America, and I really see Joe as the tax man. Joe the tax man, really, he just buffered an already existing system that has blocked Black mothers and fathers from accumulating or retaining businesses, intellectual property, land, and money. And now he's back to collect his due once again, this time in the form of the Black vote. And he's masking it in an attempt to erase the legacy of the problem he created. You stated that yourself.
Yeah.
Now, the problem that I have is the effect on lifetime earnings of the Black men and women who have been unjustly imprisoned, given longer sentences than whites for the same crimes, or are serving mandatory 5 to 10 year sentences for nonviolent drug offenses is impossible to calculate. You can't just erase it with this halfway sort of kind of criminal justice bill. And even after release from prison, ex-offenders, the innocent and the guilty, are handicapped by felony convictions, barred from getting college grants and loans, are unable to join the military. They can't work for the government or get professional licenses most times. And inmates aren't the only ones doing time either. Inmates' family, who are among the poorest Americans, are directly penalized financially and emotionally by the corrupt penal system that Joe co-wrote. This, in turn, basically continues a curse of generational poverty. We all know that money can be earned by anybody, but real wealth is passed down from one generation to the next. The question that I would ask Joe, if I in a room with him is how can you do that when you've had 20 years of your life stolen?
Yeah.
I don't understand where he sees this as a reckoning.
Well, I don't even think he sees it as a reckoning. I think he had to do it. I think his campaign said, listen, this whole thing you're talking about, how you were proud of the crown, you didn't see anything wrong with it, and how you talked about it wasn't necessarily a problem and you weren't ashamed of it. I think your campaign told you like that's a non-starter. So I don't even think it's you. Like if Joe Biden had wrote a book a while back and said I made a mistake and he did a mea culpa, I still wouldn't vote for him, but I would say I think he feels genuine. But you still got to, as a politician, you still got to assess him and throw him away. But what happens here is that I don't think Joe Biden came in this like I'm proud, I'm not ashamed of the crime bill, and what? It was his campaign that made him back off. He didn't do that.
And that's why I can't trust it.
Yep.
That's why I can't trust it. I don't trust Joe.
Yep, I don't either.
But that's basically all I really wanted to say.
Appreciate you, fam. I thank you. I want to thank you. I want to absolutely thank you for calling in. But yeah, I don't trust Joe Biden as far as I can throw him. And I don't think I can throw that man any far. So I don't trust him either. I'm with you on that. So I'm going right now to 714. 714. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? Oh, 714 dropped off. 213. 213. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, this is Nico out in L.A.
Hey, Nico, what's going on?
We've heard the term blue dog Democrat.
Yes.
And I think a lot of us make an assumption. Joe was running with segregationists, and so it was presented like that was some sort of a fluke. But the problem is he talked like them too. So if you compare his language regarding our community versus his language regarding these segregationists, he was very loving, much regard for these former Klansmen. But when it came to our community, he did say, the sins of my fathers and the sins of my grandfathers. So you're conceding that a sin was committed. And you're saying, I'm not, and he did say, I'm not going to tell the little white boy, little white girl, paraphrasing, that they have to lose rights to make the black community whole. He said that. So then if you pair the language with the company he was keeping, that's who he is. The thing is, it was always presented as though, oh, well, he's a Democrat. No, he's just like the blue dog Democrats, only he ran the other way. He was really a Republican who ran as a Democrat because he kept the same company and his language matched his company. So then when it came to the bill looked like they wrote it. So that was his soul. That bill was created from his soul. That's who Joe Biden is.
You know what, fam?
So he never had.
I think he's worse than the Blue Dogs, because even the Blue Dogs like didn't necessarily run to segregationists. Like he got as anti-black as he could. Like you understand, like it ain't just one. It ain't just one. Like where you say, well, maybe they kicked it off. No, you ran to all of them, fam. Like those were your people. You went to the funeral and spoke and all. I mean, dude, like I think he's worse than just like being a conservative Democrat. No, he's basically Republican. He tried to out Republicans. Like, well, you ain't tough enough on crime.
Oh, for real. Oh, definitely. But like I said, I'm only just speaking to the fact that it was always presented as though this is some sort of anomaly. You know, oh, he just happens to run with ex-segregationists and Klansmen.
Yeah.
Oh, he just happens to sound like these people. But the reality is that no, when you look at the bill matched his company, the bill matched his rhetoric. So that has to be who he is. And the fact that he would run in the party that he did, I certainly agree. He's worse than the Blue Dogs, primarily because the party that he chose to run in supposedly, at least right now, is the bearer or the holder of the supposed blessings of social justice and all that other stuff that goes with that. And so he went in that party as a Trojan horse, basically, because when you look at the outcome, and that goes to the last caller, when you tally the cost, real families were destroyed. And like the brother said, families do time with their family member that is actually in prison. So you can't even calculate, because who's paying for the phone calls?
Yeah.
The high phone calls. Who's paying for the high cost items that what do they call it? The book and all that kind of stuff. You know, you have to put money on their book. So
yeah, wife, mother, girlfriend, whoever,
family member.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Tone, I live down the street from Baldwin Hills, Windsor Hills, and all those places. And the truth is, we've seen a lot of boomers that have some wealth, but we've seen a lot of those same people behind sons, granddaughters, grandsons end up in the prison system. Oh, we've seen a lot of those houses. Sometimes maybe the older family member, the dad, is the one, or the mom is the one that's in prison. So grandma dies, and the kids are left with the property. Well, guess what? Now they've lost the property. So I'm going to let the line go, but you guys keep at it. And at some point, our community, I want to make one point. At some point, our community has to start looking at the other people in the room and say, what are they getting and what am I getting? Because that's the only way that you truly know if you as a voter have something in common with the people that you're voting with. And that's what our community has not done. We have not looked at the other people and said, well, okay, I'm supposed to be voting as a block, but these are the same people that are gentrifying you, but you're voting with them. Then the other group that you're supposedly voting for, these people will compete with you for jobs, fire you when they become supervisors, and come and take your property. So you have to at some point say, okay, I need to look at, am I really voting with these people? Should I really be voting with those people?
What are like I always say, Carl, thank you, I appreciate it. What are the terms of solidarity? You have to define the terms of solidarity. Solidarity is not something that just comes out the wind. You have to define the terms. There have to be terms. There got to be paperwork. Anyway, fam, I am going to 617. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette. This is Mike from Brooklyn. How's everything?
Pretty good. How about you?
Oh, it's good. It's good. This is a wonderful topic. I was like astonished at all the hypocrisy of Joe Biden. But one thing I don't like is the focus on prison reform as if we're all prisoners. I mean, there are about 2 million prisoners in the United States, and there are about 40 million black people, maybe 36 million ADOS. So that means, and half of the prisoners are black men. So that means only 1 million black prisoners.
But I think
so that means 2.5.
But I think he did that because that's his fault. Like, I think he did that because that was the criticism, and that was his fault. Like, he was the architect of it. I think that's why he focused on it, because of what he did and who he is in the creation. Not the creation, but the putting mass incarceration on roller skates. The architect of this incarceration state. I think that's why he did it. Not because we're all prisoners, but I think that's why he did it. Even though when you look at these numbers, like it's disproportionate as a mug, but I think that's why he did it.
No, definitely, I understand that, but 97.5% of black people wouldn't benefit from prison reform. You know, it's only 1 million out of the 36 to 40 million black people, are involved. So that's why I'm like, or Elizabeth Warren, she's talking about student loan forgiveness, but if you make less than 100,000 as a household. So that doesn't affect all members of ADOS. That's why, like you say, we need specific.
Well, it's not only if I don't have it in front of me, but it's not student loan forgiveness only if you make less than 100K. That's not the plan. That's not Warren's plan. But I don't have it in front of me, but I don't want to get into it. But her plan is not just if you make. I mean, I'm sorry. it sunsets. It does sunset. You're right. But I thought you said something else. What did you say if you make over or you say under? What you say? But either way.
I think it was yeah. It was somewhere around 100,000, but
yeah, no, sunsets around there. You're right. But I agree. It sunsets around there. You're exactly right. I think I heard you wrong. It sunsets, but the problem is like, I don't think we, as we're having this conversation, I don't think we can undercut the role. Just because we're not all in jail or in prison or we're not all men who are in jail, I don't think we can undercut the role. You know, black men are the most incarcerated in the world after slavery. More black men incarcerated than all women. You know, that makes black men like walking prisoners. And I don't think we can underestimate that and underestimate the impact of that just because, you know, well, everybody's not in jail. Women aren't in jail and all black men aren't in jail. No, you used incarceration to basically handicap and destroy a community. It doesn't have to, understand something. It doesn't have to be everybody to destroy you. Like, it doesn't have to be everybody in your group. Like that, understand, like when you say more black men incarcerated than all women, that means that black men were targeted in a way that no other group was targeted. And that's an enormous, you know, that there's no overcoming that as a group. There's no individual agency that overcomes
No, you're
that.
right.
Yeah.
No, you're perfectly right. I have a personal anecdote. One of my cousins, I'm like full disclosure, like African.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother, you know, she has roots in down south Mississippi. My father's from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, but I was born here and I've never been there. But one of my cousins, he had an incident, like some traffic incident, where you know some guy kept driving in front of him, cutting him off, driving in front of him, cutting him off. So in frustration, you know, he shot in the air. And I live in the 5 boroughs, you know, of New York City. So the gun laws here are really, really strict. And on my mother's side, everyone is like a minister or a deacon, you know, a heavy Baptist like tradition in my family. So, you know, his father was a minister, and he actually, you know, he wanted to turn himself in because they were looking for him, but they couldn't find him. They didn't have a license plate. But due to his like moral conviction, he turned himself in. And I always told him, like, well, why would you do that? Like, make your peace with God, not with the white man. I mean, like, let them find you. Like I'm a financial advisor. The cops don't come help me sell mutual funds, so I'm not going to come help them do their job. But you are right. Like, the family does have to do the time with the prisoner. Like, even when I had to visit him, he was, like, really far. It took, like, 2 hours to drive to him.
How long was he put in jail? How much time did he get?
What was that?
How much time did he get?
Like a 5-year sentence, but he served, like, maybe 3 years with good behavior. But it was crazy when you go there. If you want to put money on commissary, you have to pay all this money. Like, when you visit them in, like, a day room, the vending machines, like, if they want pizza or chicken wings, it's, like, $7, $8. Like, everything is overpriced. And, like, it seems in that small town, there's, like, no jobs, but all the white people have jobs that lock people up from the city. So it's, like, it is predatory. The whole scheme is predatory, and your family does serve time with you, but I still think they need a more comprehensive plan to get ADOS on board. Because, you know, just a prison reform, that doesn't do anything for me because I'm not a prisoner. I'm not a criminal. You know,
all right, fam. I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate it. But, like, I think we have to think collectively. We can't think of it as, well, I'm not in jail. Shoot. Well, you're not in jail, but your fool cousin or brother, whoever, shot into the air. You can't shoot into the air. What's wrong with y'all? You can't shoot into the air if you done do traffic stuff. ADOS, don't you do that stuff. You can't shoot into no air. God damn. Like, you can't, like, have some self-discipline about yourself. You can't pull a gun and pop, and then, like, the police looking for me. Why? No Skippy. No Sherlock. They looking for you. I bet they are. But you can't say, like, on one hand, like, well, it doesn't affect me because I'm not a prisoner. And then on the other hand, be like, but I got a friend. I got a cousin who I forget what the family member he's talking about. But who's in jail for shooting off and the commissary's high. That's how it affects you. Like, this is a huge deal, but don't shoot in the air. Don't shoot nowhere. Don't. Anyway, 310. I'm coming to you. What's up?
What up?
What's going on?
Just talk. I wasn't even gonna call in until the last call. You know, it's a trip because, you know, as an attorney, you know, but at the same time, I didn't come from like striver boomers. Some of the logic that I hear out of other people that are educated, it just does. I don't even know what they be talking about. I'm gonna be honest, and I'm saying this because it just kind of needs the key thing that he said was that he was a financial advisor. So I'm a financial advisor. So I'm going to think about this thing in numbers. Well, 1 plus 1 is 2, and 2 plus 2 is 4, and 4 plus 4 is 8. But this is the problem. When I give you the most important number, you don't want to listen. The most important number is 700,000. So you got 700,000 black males that descend from slavery, counted babies and counted old people. There's only 20 million of us incarcerated. You got 4 billion women on the planet, and 700,000 are incarcerated. And you don't understand why that's the most important issue possibly on the table as far as like our presentation structure, everything else today. I don't know. Like sometimes it's interesting because you went to Howard, Yvette, and I went to UCLA, and like we sacrificed so much to do these shows. And sometimes I hear other people, and they basically are underhandedly saying they don't want to do that. They want to know. The Elizabeth Warren thing helps me out. I mean, particularly the Bernie Sanders version of it. Forgive all my student debt. Because the donations, I appreciate them, but forgive it. But at the end of the day, that's not reparation. And so I'm not saying this to be ultra critical of callers where they don't call in. I want you to feel comfortable. But at the same time, sometimes it's hard for me to connect with the self-identity, me-oriented way that other people are approaching it. And I think that's part of the reason we never had a reparation discussion. I think that's part of the reason that we never had black politics in the way that we've had it in the last, year, particularly in the last 6 to 9 months, is because a lot of people got to realize, like, maybe you're not getting enough out of these shows because you aren't really understanding how little you really care about other black folks. Because what I heard is there's 40 million blacks, and because only 1 million are incarcerated, well, then at the end of the day, what that means is that maybe we shouldn't be focused on those people because those people are only a small minority. But in reality, no, we're talking about incarcerated people so that you can create a new system of slavery. This is not 101. This is 103. And I'm just saying this because I really felt like that was, and I don't feel like it was a disrespectful call, but I felt it was the call of a financial advisor. And maybe you not need to come home, and this is for all of us. Maybe whatever you do, leave that at the door and come in the room and don't be a financial advisor. Or don't be a prison warden. Or don't be a psychologist. Or don't be a basketball player. Be an ADOS black person that cares about somebody outside of your house just as much as you care about somebody inside your house that's ADOS and going through this. Because that's what me and Yvette do every day. I just want to say that.
Appreciate it, Tom, as always. Yeah, I think you got to put whatever. Like I think we got to get in the habit of putting our titles aside. Whatever title you have, I think it's about time to get a habit of like putting that by the wayside and just going for something else. Like no, go for your people. If you're gonna go for your people, you can't be like why no, whatever it is, because we hear that a lot. So I'm going to 206. 206. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, sister, Yvette, it's your man Mark Black from Black Outcast Media. How you be?
I'm pretty good. How about yourself?
Hey, I can't complain, sister. I gotta admit, your broadcast tonight got me fired up because I have a special place in my heart for old Jim Crow Joe.
Do you?
I don't know if you remember, but we had a thread on Twitter where we was posting like little videos, and I did the one where I talked about my brother committing suicide facing his 3rd strike due to the policies that Jim Crow Joe put in the crime bill and incentivized the states. I didn't know if you remembered that, but it's a hard pass for me for Jim Crow Joe. Damn him and damn everything about him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad to see that you finally gave him the shade and smoke he truly deserves tonight.
No problem, fam. No problem, fam.
Sorry.
As always, sorry to hear about that.
I just a little something to say because I know that we got a lot of people that want to chime in, but I wanted to remind us all that it's funny. Jim Crow Joe put this up thinking that he was going to get away with it because of one reason only. Because we fell for it before, right? When our ancestors were freed from slavery, when they were emancipated in the 13th and the 14th and the 15th Amendments to the Constitution were laid in place,
That was supposed to ensure that we would never see slavery again, that we would be citizens of this country, right? And that, and the whole 9 yards. But then we faced debt peonage, convict leasing, Jim Crow, and all of that up until 1964. So we get Lyndon Baines Johnson in the office, and he finally agrees to enforce the laws that were already on the books. Nothing new, by the way, right? No payment and honoring on our justice claim, none of that. Just simply enforcing the laws that you should have been enforcing for the 100+ years of Jim Crow that we had to face. And we went for Democrats in droves. He even bragged about it, right? He said, if I do this thing, I have the N-words voting for us for the next 100 years. And how true did that become, right? We gave the Democrats our one bullet, right? Our one weapon in this political sphere, which is our vote, simply for them enforcing the damn law. So here comes Jim Crow Biden, who says, okay, I passed the laws that incarcerated and turned a whole generation of black ADOS people into super predators and criminals, right? Incarcerated them, messed up their families, the whole 9 yards. And so now we're supposed to give our vote to him, not because he's going to go beyond that and fix that plus. No, just so that he does justice by us. They've gotten away with it once before, and if we're not careful, they'll get away with it again. And so, Yvette, I just wanted to let the family know, we got, like Santa Ana said, those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. You know what I mean? We have to understand that we've been here before. This is nothing new to us as ADOS. And we need to understand how we got played in the past so we prevent getting played in the future. And with that said, sister, as always, I love you. Shout out to my ADOS family everywhere. You keep doing the firework that you do.
I appreciate you, fam. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think, and let me just say something else, fam. I think these personal stories help. One of the things that I appreciate about the callers is the personal stories. Like, this is what, like what he just told you was, this is what mass incarceration meant to my life. I lost my brother. Like, third strike, I lost him. Like, it wasn't like he's going to go to jail and he's going to get out. He knew what he was facing. And so I lost him forever. Like, these are the stories. These are our stories. These are the stories of our lives that nobody really cares to listen to. And nobody, when Joe Biden was saying, lock the SOBs up and all that stuff, he wasn't thinking about us or how we would be impacted. He was thinking about himself. He was thinking about how it would benefit him as a politician. Well, see now the turn of it is right now what I'm thinking, Jim Crow Joe, what I'm thinking right now is about what benefits me. I'm thinking about what benefits me. I'm thinking about what benefits my community. That's what you did. You thought about what benefited your career and who you had to rub up against. Well, now I'm doing the same thing. No harm, no foul. It's all politics, baby. Anyway, I'm going now to 8184. 8184. I'm coming to you because I got two 818s. So 8184. I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette. Hey, Sam. This is Tara in LA.
What's going on?
Hey. Okay. So, first, really quick, can you cite your source for the chart a few charts ago, the one with the 15% and 68%? I wanted to find that.
What was it about? What was the chart about?
The chart about the incarceration rate of black men and
the one I used tonight, the one tonight, or another show.
Yeah, the one you used tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll cite it, but I gotta go back and find it. I have to put that on Twitter.
Or if you could throw that in the chat. That's one.
That'll be on Twitter. I have to be on Twitter.
I'll be the voice of dissent tonight. So I'm thinking I want to play devil's advocate because I agree about Joe Biden. He's not trustworthy, and he steered black folks wrong in the past. And granted, if you look at that 94 crime bill, a lot of CBC members did also, and which you put up in the article. So my thing is, what if we looked at it strategically? Who else do we see that can possibly beat Trump? Like, who are the white folks going to vote for? How can we push Joe Biden? Or would we be able to push Joe Biden to give us reparations? And if we thought about it in a more strategic manner and less of an emotional manner, a lot of people are, Jim Crow Joe, and blah, blah, blah. I know he's touchy-feely. Okay, that's great. But how do we come together, get organized, and get strategic to get the bills that we needed? Because if the gay community was like, oh well, Obama's against gay marriage, so we're not going to push him, they wouldn't have gotten gay marriage.
But can I say something? Can I say something? Can I say something? The LGBT community was very emotional. Like when you say, can we take? They were extremely emotional. There was no taking emotion out of it. Like they did what we're doing right now. Like they did exactly what we're doing right now. Like Obama.
Right, and that's my point.
No. But see, the thing is, there was no, when Obama came in, everybody, there was no somebody, like it's almost as if like when Obama came in, he was never the architect of anti-marriage equality. He was, when Obama came to office, everybody, like most of the Dems had the same position. The top tier Dems were, well, we're in favor of civil unions. We're not really in favor of gay marriage. They were all the same. Biden is coming in as the architect of mass incarceration. He's coming in with that. Like Obama did not come in as the architect. He did not come in as the architect of like anti-LGBT whatever. He came in as a guy who was saying that I'm more progressive than Hillary. So he came in as a guy that you thought you could convince to do what he did. That's not the same thing here. Like if Obama, like I don't think the gay community would have voted for, the LGBT community would never have voted for Obama if Obama had been the architect of laws that oppress the LGBT community. It never would have happened. He never would have been a nominee. They never would have allowed it.
Okay, I get that part. I get that point. But my thing is there anyone else who's running as a Democrat who could potentially beat Trump and also has the political clout that Joe Biden has? I just really don't see anyone else doing it. Yes, reluctantly.
Well, honestly, I don't think
if I have to vote for Joe Biden, he's not my ideal candidate. My fear is Elizabeth Warren electable for the rest of America. Like I like her more than the other candidates. Of course, she's not perfect, but I'm looking at it as who can we push? Who has the political clout? Who can push our agenda?
Honestly, what political clout? What political clout does Joe Biden have? Like I don't see the political clout that he has. Like when you say political clout,
I'm talking about as far as his experience to be able to get a bill passed, right? Just like they gave Obama a hard time, he had to do a bunch of executive orders. I don't think Joe Biden is going to have that same issue.
Why? The Senate will, unless the Senate flips, it's still Republican, right? So they're going to be faced with, understand one thing. Biden was Obama's VP, right? So to say that like he's not going to have the issues that Obama had as his VP, if he could have told Obama how to circumvent those issues, he would have. He didn't know how. He don't have no clout. It's no different.
But you don't think they just straight up blocked him because he was black? Like
no.
Mitch McConnell.
No. I think that
he's a one-term president, and they did not want to work with him.
I think they were playing hardball. See, the thing is, I think they were more antagonistic and nasty to Obama because he was black, right? They were nasty to him because he was black. But you got to understand that people like Bill Clinton decided to come all the way over and become Republicans. I don't think the world changes because we elected a white man Democrat who buddied up with segregationists. I think the Republicans have decided they want what they want. Now they might not treat Biden like trash, like they treated Obama like trash because he's black. That's true. They might not stand up and yell, "You lie," while he's giving a speech in Congress or a State of the Union. That's absolutely true. So he won't get as much disrespect. But you think he's gonna get anything done? Do you think he wants to get something done for us? See, I don't even think he's gonna get in there and try to do it. And Republicans have to say, "No, stop." I don't think he's gonna try. I think he's gonna try to do stuff for middle America white people.
I think he would if he wants to get reelected. Just like Killer Mike said, we have to get comfortable in knowing in the possibility we could possibly not get reparations this next term. But if we're strategic about it and are like, hey, you're gonna if you get our vote this time around, I'm totally being devil's advocate. He's not my choice. But if you want to be president and we give him our vote, and if we vote as a bloc, and we push him to do reparations, and if he doesn't do it by his second term, he's absolutely not getting our vote. I'm just
No, I don't know. That's what we.
Is there anyone else who could
No,
possibly
there's
be
listen.
Trump?
There's 20 people. There's like 20 people. So yeah, that's somebody else. Like I don't. Let me tell you something. I don't. Let me just finish. I don't know. Let me just finish. Hold on. Just let me finish, please. I don't agree with this idea that Biden is the best man to even beat Trump. I have seen Biden on the debate stage where even though I'm not a fan of Kamala, I know that, and Kamala backtracked, which was the problem with everything she did. But during that moment, during the debate, she cleaned his clock. If Kamala cleans your clock on the debate stage, what do you think you're going to do with Trump? Like it, I don't even give in to this idea that Joe's the one, he can do it. Yeah, he can do it until you see him on the debate stage with Trump and he crumbles. Then he can't do it no more. Now what you gonna do?
I agree. He's terrible on the debate stage. He gets confused. He's discombobulated. But debating Trump is like debating a 5-year-old. I'm not saying that he can beat him just on strength and skill. I'm talking about for a comfortable vote for white Americans and for white men. That's what I'm talking about.
But I'm tired of giving into that. I'm tired of giving into.
They're not going to vote for Elizabeth Warren.
No, but we do that. Let me just say this. We do that all the time, Carla. And I'm going to let you go because I don't want to take too much time. But we do that all the time. We do this stuff all the time when we say, well, we got to give somebody who the white people can vote for or they're not going to get elected. Then the person who gets elected don't do nothing for us. So what was the point of giving them somebody that just said, we got to give them somebody that white people like, because if not, we might not get a Democrat. Oh, my God. And then we get one and they just decide, like, they get with they tell the Congressional Black Caucus, like, we're not going to do nothing for you or your people. But at least, it's not as bad as Republicans. Like, my question to everybody is, how long are we going to play this game? We've been doing this for a long time. We've been doing this for decades now. How long are we going to do this? If you want to have white people have a comfortable vote, understand that a comfortable vote for white people does not include reparations. It does not include reparations. A comfortable vote for white people does not include anything transformative for us in terms of our agenda. Nothing. So if you want to give them a comfortable vote, you can do that. But understand that just because you say, well, he's going to beat Trump, it's not going to mean nothing for you in your life. Broke, busted, and disgusted is how you will live and die. So I'm going to the next caller. I am going to 503. I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette.
Hey.
My name is Cherokee, and I'm currently residing in Portland, Oregon, but I'm originally from Kentucky, and I am a white woman, and I want to know how I can help ADOS get their message out, not as a white lady savior, let me help you, but as a, how can I put my shoulder to the plow and get this job done? Because living in Kentucky and experiencing the things that my neighbors have gone through, seeing firsthand what's done to the people in the black community, but also things that were done to me, it's frustrating. And I listen to what people are saying on social media, and I follow and I hear their concerns. And my biggest concern, my one thing that I want to say is stop worrying about the white people. The white people have not done anything for y'all. Don't worry about them. Be true to yourself and your message, because, you got to fight. But what can I do to help?
Well, as a white person, you have white people around you. You have white family. You have white politicians. And so what has to happen? And I told this to a white Christian fellow not too long ago. It can't just be me, right? It can't just be when you talk about people who love justice or whatever. It can't just be black people always talking. So at the HR 40 hearing, it was mostly black people, right? Like, white people have to start showing up, and they have to start talking about this. Like, you're calling into my show right now, and I appreciate that. But what happens a lot of the times is like a white person will talk to me, but they won't talk to other white people. And they won't let those disagreements mean anything. So they might get into it with one of their white friends and be like, well, you got a point. Black people could have done better or something. Like, no, you got to be like, this is a break point for me. This is a big deal for me. You got to start sending your people here. Like sending people to Breaking Brown, sending people to Tone Talks. Like, you got to watch these people. Maybe I didn't explain it right to you. Just give it a shot. Give it a try. Right? Because what has to happen, even during the civil rights movement, like sometimes one of the things that kind of caught people's attention too wasn't just us, like some white people got into the mix and got hurt and stuff started happening. Like, there are not enough white people who are willing to risk themselves. But you got to start being more vocal in terms of how you feel. It doesn't mean that you trash people or whatever, but you got to send people, to us. You got to tell people, I'm in favor of reparations. Well, you can't just go quiet. When people start talking about it or saying it's ridiculous, you can't go quiet. You got to talk about it. You got to be vocal. You got to be an advocate, because we're not in those white rooms. We're not there.
Right.
And we can never be there. So when you are there, you got to show up. You got to show up.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's the advice I give.
Okay. Thank you, Yvette. I won't
No
take
problem.
your time up.
No problem. I appreciate you calling.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Because we don't get a lot of that.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. We don't get a lot of it. So I appreciate her calling in and asking. And let me just say, what she did was very important. Because one of the things when we talk about what people have to do, they got to start listening more than they talk. Like, when I go on Twitter and everywhere else, y'all do a lot of talking, but not enough listening. And you haven't lived this experience, and half the time you haven't read enough of the books and all that stuff. Start listening, and start encouraging white people to listen and learn more than they talk. Y'all talk a lot. I'm going to my next caller. I am going to 410. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, Yvette? This is Mike from Maryland.
What's going on, Mike?
Hey, I'm going to play God's advocate. This is Mike from Maryland.
What's going on?
Hey, I'm going to play God's advocate. I'm going to say, why are we in the ADOS movement only pitching the reparation issue exclusively to the Democrats? At best, they're callous and indifferent. At worst, they're downright dismissive. President Donald Trump is like, we're opting for potential power instead of actual power. President Donald Trump is in power right now, and it seems like we're avoiding him and going to some power candidates. He had the Black New Deal. He reached out to many black leaders and was downright avoided. So why are we pitching? And
But didn't
why are we
Trump?
pitching our stuff exclusively to the Democrats? When you asked Bernie about it, he yelled, he was dismissive, he was arrogant.
So was
When you
Trump.
asked Trump about it, he said it's interesting.
So was Trump, though. Trump said he doesn't see it happening, and Trump already. See, the thing is, you can't go to Trump, because Trump already said, one, he doesn't see it happening, and he already said, two.
Okay.
He already said, too, when he talked about it, he already gutted the black communities. The tax cuts are just a way to starve the beast, to starve the government. So you've already kind of showed us your hand. So it's not that we were unwilling to ever deal with Republicans. Like, you showed us that you're not in favor of it. So, and there's an exchange. We give Democrats the overwhelming majority of our vote. So when we give you that much of our vote, like, we expect something in return. We expect, I appreciate you calling, but I'm gonna have to let you go. I'm gonna try to get to I'm gonna try to get to another caller. But like, if you put forth tax cuts that gutted the black community, like, go back and look. We did a whole show about the tax cuts and what they meant. If you're not even willing to support us in terms of policy, what would make me think that in terms of redistribution of wealth, in terms of reparation, in terms of a debt that has to be paid, an enormous $17 trillion price tag, if you're not willing to support us as basic citizens, why in the world would I believe that you're going to support a $17 trillion plan to pay a debt that's old? It doesn't make sense for me. So anyway, I'm going to the next call. I'm going to 862. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette. How you doing? This is Jonathan Edwards again.
What's going on?
Out of New Jersey. Oh, I just listened to that last caller. He doesn't even understand politics at all.
Such is life, fam.
How are you going to ask? How are you going to ask Donald Trump, a trust fund baby president, to give you redistribution of stolen wealth from his grandfather?
Teach, fam,
Can
teach.
somebody please explain that to me? Can somebody please explain that to this man?
I can't.
This guy's a trust fund baby. Okay, he's never going to give you a dime. He doesn't think he owes anyone a dime.
Agreed.
He's never going to give you anything. He's about small government. Small government is never going to give you $17 trillion.
No.
You'll be lucky
Nope.
if you get salt on your roads when it snows. But I'm off that guy. So anyway, it just stuck in my head. Like, where have you been? Crawling under a rock? Sleeping?
People, you know, our people don't really engage politics. We don't really engage politics, fam. And the thing is, like, one of the things that I really hope the ADOS movement does is that people start to really engage politics, from not only from local and national, reading political books, starting their own YouTube channels or whatever. Like, we don't engage politics enough. So when it comes time to really do some stuff, we don't know.
And the other thing is this naivete that there's not going to be some blood spilled. And what I mean by that is, we're not going to get this in 4 years. So get your head wrapped around the fact that you might have to deal with Donald Trump for 4 more years.
Yeah.
Get your head wrapped around it.
Yeah.
We didn't crawl out of slavery in 4 years. We didn't crawl out of segregation in 4 years. We didn't crawl out of Jim Crow in 4 years. But we think we're going to elect somebody that's going to get us $17 trillion in 4 years. That's never going to happen.
Well, I've always said it.
$17 trillion.
And
NASA can't get $17 trillion.
But let me tell you, fam. Let me tell you how it's absolutely not going to happen. We got too many people running around playing devil's advocate. You don't get to play devil's advocate.
Right.
You get to just advocate. You get to advocate and put pressure and put pressure and put pressure and put pressure.
Shut up and get in line.
That's it.
Get in line. Your job is not to be a general. Your job is to be a private. Pick up a bucket and let's go put this fire out, one bucket at a time. And as far as Joe Biden goes, he's doing all this Monday morning quarterbacking on the crime bill. Well, let's go ahead and let's start locking up some white folks. Let's lock up all of these predatory prison guys that built these prisons that were substandard. Let's lock them up. Let's lock up all the guys that made all the money illegally by gouging the prices inside of these prisons. Let's lock them up. Let's start locking up some white folks now, so we can even the playing field. That's restorative justice. It's not just let the little Negro prisoners go. Let's start locking up the guys that got away with the crimes.
There you go.
Into corporate America. And let's start locking up those guys. Let's get some more, let's get some mandatory minimums for insider trading. Let's get some mandatory minimums for all the little crooked real estate deals that happen. I mean, my family is the Gaines family from North Carolina's Pacific State. The Pinehurst Golf Course is built on my family's stolen land. I just got that from my mom a couple days ago. And the last living heir to that particular block of land, they basically stole the land from him and let him hang out on the golf course and talk to the golfers, because he was a little senile and a little loopy, and no one knew about it until it was all over. This is $1 million operation. They have the Masters there. Tiger Woods plays there. Can I get my daddy's land back, please?
Absolutely.
But you're not gonna get it with this devil's advocate stuff. You got to understand how politics plays itself out. And if we're going to start doing this Monday morning quarterbacking stuff, Joe Biden, good. I'm going to need you to go through the Senate and lock up all those guys that got bad checks floating, all those guys. guys, they got no prostitutes. I need all these white men to go to jail.
I agree. People keep talking about
If
because you exactly
if we
right.
gonna do this bill,
Yeah, gotta go to jail.
I need you to put 700,000 white men in jail. Then we can do the bill, and we'll all vote for you. How about that? If not, goodbye,
fair.
Joe.
That's fair.
Does that sound fair? We're not even talking about the toll that those 700,000 men put on the 700,000 women that don't have husbands now.
I hear you, fam.
We're not going to talk about all the women that ended up on drugs and in the street because their men were in prison. So it's not just 700,000 for that other call talking about that it's only 1 million people.
No, you're right, fam. And let's just
turned us into the poverty ghetto.
Let's just call it what it is, though. Like, don't just call it like ended up on the street. Like, ended up broken. Like, people ended up broken in and out of prison. Broken people. We got a bunch of ghosts walking around because of what y'all did.
Yeah. Yeah, we got crackheads and crack prostitutes and crack babies because of y'all.
I thank you, fam. I appreciate it.
And Joe Biden, you don't get to come back and Monday morning quarterback this thing and razzle dazzle and sleep flicker us, and we're gonna vote for you because you're gonna let us all out of prison now. No, don't let us out. Put some of your people in, and start with your son. He could be prisoner number 1. We're waiting for another 600 or 700,000 after that.
All right, fam. I'm gonna let you go. I'm trying to get
I gotta go.
I appreciate you, fam. You said a mouthful, fam. I appreciate it. I'm gonna let you go, but I appreciate it. You have to understand that, like, even in terms of how we do this, fam, you have to understand how far I moved. I moved from like, yeah, we're poor to we need reparations, and then being tone with the data and figuring out like, okay, we're a group, we're a tribe, we're ADOS, we're not African American, we're this, we're that. It's a whole evolution for me. We crafted this whole thing though. This is why all this is happening. This is ADOS. You ADOS. You all who show up here and be on Twitter, this is what we have made happen. Imagine. I just want everybody to imagine. I'm gonna go to the last call in a second. But just imagine if we had more people. Like, people say, well, I know this is not going to happen. Understand that this is this group right here. What if we had a bigger group? What do you mean? Well, this isn't going to happen. You don't know. We don't know. Listen, your job is to fight. I don't need you to have no other jobs. Don't take on no other jobs. I didn't ask you to pick up the mop. I didn't ask you to go and code the software. Just to fight. That's the job. That's what we're born into. Everybody act like they got a choice. You don't have a choice. You're born into this fight. So pick up all your uniforms and everything and get on the battlefield. That's your job. I don't know why you think you got another job. That's not the job you were born into. There's a little bit of destiny in this, people. And if you're born into this, then I think, if I believe in destiny, and I kind of do, I think you might be born to fight. That's kind of why you were born into it. Stop trying to opt out and run off somewhere. You ain't that fast, no way. People catch you. Anyway, I'm going to 818-818. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
How you doing? My name is Clyde. This is the Henderson area, Henderson, Nevada, Las Vegas. I wanted to discuss a little bit about reparations, and but also jumping back to Joe Biden. I can't see how anybody would even want to contemplate voting for him at all, because he just destroyed us. A lot of these people that's been calling in on your show, they didn't go through the 80s with the crack epidemic, which led to mass incarceration. I mean, that was. I lived in LA at the time, and that was hell. To see men and women do anything to get that rock and the term side-hour hood was created. Because that's how bad it was in South Central LA. But getting on to reparations and our agenda, you said something about waiting for them to give us their agenda, I believe, earlier. No, I say that we need to write up what we want and tell them that this is what we want if you want our vote. That's how it works. We don't wait for them. We go after them and tell them what we want. It's our vote that's going to put you in office. Without it, you ain't getting back in office. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're saying, Carl. I understand exactly what you're saying. And I appreciate you, Carl. I'm gonna drop that call just so I can I'm gonna hang up so I can keep going for a second. Listen, when I talk about fight, understand, because people are crazy, and I understand that I've seen people send me videos with mental illness. Like, I understand that's a thing, that's a problem. My heart goes out. When I say fight, and everybody should know this, but I see a lot of frustration, right? I see a lot of frustration in the ADOS community, and it's righteous frustration. We have to, when I say fight, what I'm talking about is our ability to funnel our frustration and resentments into a productive arena of politics, right? What I'm talking about is using that suffering. When I say fight, I'm talking about using that suffering and that anxiety and that pain and funneling it into a productive arena that is politics. I'm not talking about doing nothing, going off on your own, doing nothing stupid, doing nothing. We're not ever talking about that. I'm talking about, whenever I talk about fight, I'm talking about as a soldier in the arena of politics. That's where all the money is. That's where all the change happens. That's where everything is transformed. That is the arena. That is our arena. So what I'm talking about, when I talk about a battlefield, I'm talking about the battlefield of politics. That's where you transform that. You have to kind of turn that suffering, and you have to turn that pain into something that is productive. And I'm going to tell you this on a basic level, it'll eat you up inside if you don't make it into a productive force in your life. Not a negative force where you go do something negative or nasty or something that'll get you locked up. Something productive in your life that you learn and you grow and you meet ADOS family and you're in it together with people and you're pushing a certain political agenda using the political process. That's what we're talking about on this show. That's what we're doing on this show. So I'm going to take one more call, fam. I'm going to 678-6. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello?
What's going on? How you doing?
Oh, hi. I'm doing good.
Good.
My name's Mike. I'm down in DCL, originally from PA, millennial. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about some other issues that I feel like is kind of affecting the Black community that we don't necessarily talk about.
Okay.
And temp working. I think temp working agencies are just draining the wealth of the Black community. It makes it hard for people to actually get health care for their families, and I just kind of noticed that a lot since I started working in the workplace and stuff. And also, I just wanted to talk a little bit about crime in general and how no one ever talks about how whites are 4 times more likely to be arrested for crimes, but then they're 4 times likely less to be convicted. So there's the inequity there, and we don't hear about that in the media. We don't hear about these things. So, I mean, I just wanted to throw that out there about the temp agencies and the lack of health care that they provide, because I graduated school and I've been working temp jobs in corporate America the whole time I've been out of school. So,
temp jobs the whole time you've been out of school?
Yeah, but they're analytics jobs, so they're in my field, but I've never been able to secure a footing into the actual, companies. And I've worked for Fortune 500 companies, so all temp positions. And I I even know a guy down here who he had a job, and the company actually contracted people from India, and the job typically pays an American $60 an hour. Black man had this job, and then they gave it to an Indian who's only getting paid $20 an hour. And the reason why they pay the Indians so low is because the Indians being contracted from India. So when they come over here and work, they're working as contractors. And because they're working as contractors, they don't have to follow our labor laws or our wage laws. So we're unable to compete with that type of stuff. So, I mean, that's my 2 cents. So.
Okay, thank you, fam. I appreciate it. Yeah, I know. I appreciate it. I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate people who are there, who can talk about what we've experienced. The most powerful thing on this show is like experience. And if you, that's why we have to become politically activated, because we really haven't been. We've been doing this thing, where we just kind of trust Democrats. Like, Democrats are going to come through for us if we come through for them. And that hasn't been the case. So what we have to do in terms of our fight is, like, we have to have a black agenda now. That is our fight. Like, our fight is reparations. That's our fight. Like, why are you doing pros and cons without your uniform on? Like, this is the fight. We have a political battle on our hands. That's what it is. There's no other way around it. And everything on Capitol Hill for the people who split up all that money is a battle. That's a battle. And we just kind of abdicate our responsibility and say, well, they're never going to do anything for us. They're never going to be here. They're never going to know, because nobody's going to be anywhere if you're not in that fight. Washington, D.C., Capitol Hill, how that money gets cut up, that's a big piece of pie. Tax dollars from Americans, that's a big piece of money. Everybody on Capitol Hill is engaged in that battle for dollars. You can't abdicate that. There is no way, especially to want reparations and be like, well, I don't think I'm going to do this. I don't think I'm going to be that. I don't think I'm going to engage in this. You can't do that. The battle is the battle, and it's on Capitol Hill. And it's for us, it's for the debt and the black agenda. That's what these battles are way. When you see people get all these subsidies, they want a battle right there. And I actually think in terms of who we are, we would feel better too. We are kind of in our community, kind of actually like internalizing all of this stuff, all of these anxieties and everything that comes with being a bottom caste, and like putting it out to like our family, instead of saying, no, the problem is politics and politicians and nobody wants to pay the debt and give us an agenda. So I am going to use what I feel and use that as a productive sending out. You have to do it. We have to do it. Like, this is political fisticuffs. That's what it is. So I want to say, we're going to be reading this book August the 1st. It's a Thursday. How the Irish Became White. Please join us for the book. We would absolutely appreciate it, fam. If I didn't get to you tonight, I apologize, but we will be reading the book. Please get all your stuff together, all your notes and everything, and we're going to have the conversation August the 1st. Fam, if you want to, please, before you leave, please hit that like button. Please share. Please do all of that good stuff. Please go to patreon.com/WaCarnell. All of that good stuff. If you can, just hit that like button like it's lights going out. You know, when you leave, just hit the like button. Also, you go to patreon.com/WaCarnell. You can go to donatebrown.com if you want to donate. All those wonderful things. It is what it is, fam. Hit that bell for me. I appreciate everybody. Everybody have a good night. Finish your libation. Finish your oatmeal. Whatever you're doing tonight. I'm not here to judge nobody. Whatever you're doing, just finish it up. Time to go to bed unless you work nights. Okay, fam? And we will have a conversation next time. All right, fam? Be easy. Bye.